Hello, everyone. So, I went for a walk and I was going to do video while I was walking, and then realized that there are still so many people out here walking their dogs that I wasn't going to get a minute alone anyway. So, also, even though the fountain was turned off, which is great because that's the place with the best light, and it's just way too much noise when that thing is on, there still really wasn't a good spot for lighting. Also, I forgot the little tripod thing with the thing the flexible feet, um, which would help out a lot for getting the camera in the right position. So I just continued the walk, and now I'm back here wearing a hat because I needed a haircut before the place is closed down. And I really still need one, so I'm just gonna keep the hat on, and I'm wearing this because I haven't shaved right. I mean it's like poking through. Um, Plus I just don't like how my teeth look. Never did. So we'll talk a little bit about other stuff, but then I want to get in depth on Persona. I even want your guys' help. So when it comes to streams, I still want to go and have fun streams during the weekends. Um, I'm still gonna play through Doom Eternal on my own on just Hurt Me Plenty, normal difficulty, and I haven't done that in a few days. But I don't mind getting past where I was with in the stream, because then all that's gonna do is okay, I'll know what's coming, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to. It's still gonna be hard. So but the nightmare difficulty playthrough is only going to be on stream. Neo, I remember saying we use Neo as a prefix in English. We also have Neo in pop culture with Matrix character and so on. So I wanted to say Nio because we didn't have anything for that. That wasn't spoken for. Well, it is Neo. I know those characters. I know those kanji underneath in the logo. That's the first one is Ni, meaning two, and the second one is O, meaning king. Not OH, though. They don't have that. It's an OU, but it's just pronounced Neo. That's fine. That I am still only going to play on stream. However, I think I'm going to not do the drinking thing. I didn't have too much last time. I was fine. I had fun with how I was feeling after the stream, but sending out tweet, posting in Discord, but I was fine, and the next day was fine too. So I just don't see the need to keep doing that though. So plus I was fucking up at the end. So although I don't feel like my motor skills were affected at all, I should just get better and go at the game with trying to be good. Because although you guys might like seeing me die, you also probably want to see me not die once in a while so you can stop seeing the same boss. So those are going to continue to be on stream. Dragon Quest XI is on a bit of a... So Dragon Quest XI S and Persona 5 Royal, I'm not going to do on stream. I've done both of those games before. They were not terribly popular in the first place. Also, I don't feel like those are nearly as entertaining stream games. Even worse with how I play them, wanting to be very, very thorough and sort of completionist. So, I'm still going to be posting about them in the game journal in Discord, though, and I'll still be talking about them. Most of this video is going to be talking about Persona. So Dragon Quest, I got on stream, and these were technically not on stream. This is back when I was still trying to stream from the hotel in Tel Aviv, and that wasn't working, so I just recorded video and then uploaded that. I did get to the point in the game where I had beaten the game and I was able to go back in time to prevent deaths, but I had not done that. Instead, I was going around and doing all of the side quests that I could. Well, I decided to start doing that. I sped through the game and got to that point again on the Switch because the game came out when I was up in Portland and I spent a lot of time on it. I got to the point of knocking out all of the side quests in the post game with Exis. She was helping me out. Then I did the go back in time thing. So I got further in the playthrough than I did on the PC playthroughs. And that was great. And I can't wait to get back to it. But I've decided to take a break from it for Persona. And also, Exis has got really into it. So I've left the game down there in Tucson with her. So, Persona. I am so happy to be back in this world, in that world. I miss Japan anyway. I want to go back. And this is a game where you spend time in a realistic Japan setting. And so some of the little things are familiar to me in a way that in ways that are hard to describe, but they're familiar to me because of having been there. It was actually 2 years ago. It is April 6th, and 2 years ago, I was in Japan. I don't know if you guys saw, I was in Instagram. I'm on Instagram every day for the car anyway, on the Camaro account, but I'll still get notifications over on the Rilo one. And I had that 2 years ago post that I shared to the story. Maybe I should keep doing that every day because I took pictures every day there. So I'll go find something from 2 years ago, re-download it to this phone and upload it. Just to share. But I want to go back. I want to go back even before the end of the year. So we'll just see how all this bullshit plays out. That world is amazing, and being able to explore it is great. I saw a suggested article on my phone about being able to kind of have a roaming experience in that outside world is what the world needs right now. The world needs to play Persona 5, apparently, and roam around in that world. I get what the author was going for, but I mean, the entire article the whole gist was right there in the title. I imagine it kind of has to get that far when you need to consistently write for a website. I get it, but you know, there it is, that whole thing. So it's, that said, I'm very, very much having fun running around in it, and I'm still doing things the way that I did before, though. I'm still being efficient, and I'm still not reading everything, because to me, I'm kind of doing it like I did with Dragon Quest. With Dragon Quest, I actually went through and read everything. And so what I have been doing with S was I just sped through absolutely everything just to get to the point that I was before, and then I started to pay attention. But I didn't really with the side quests, because the side quests were really just, oh, hey, I want some spices. Can you go get some spices for me? It was just fetch bullshit. Persona doesn't have that. That's the thing about Persona, is that one of the things that I love about it, and it doesn't need to be this setting, and it doesn't need to be always an RPG, but a lot of RPGs could benefit from this. In Persona, with this whole time management thing, where you can only do a certain number of things, I mean, you can't just go endlessly power level. I mean, you kind of can, but there are tricks to it, and it's usually better on certain days of the year. But you can normally just do one thing in the afternoon and then one thing at night. And so the way the game is structured is that everything that you do is good for you. It makes you better in another part of the game that will affect combat. And I feel that that's a key thing that a lot of RPGs miss, including Dragon Quest. You can do a lot of side quests in the game, and they just give you bonus materials or equipment that you're not going to use because you already have better stuff, and so on. So you can spend time doing it and not gain anything from doing so. But in Persona, every time you do something that increases one of your social skills, that's going to pay off later when you need those high-level social skills to advance your relationships with confidants or engage in certain activities and so on. Those relationships with the confidants, spending time on those is good because if the confidant is one of your party members, then combat will get a direct, even if not controllable, benefit. But if the confidant is not one of your party members, you are still going to get the benefit of the persona crafting and summoning being better for you because they get a boost in the persona's level when you summon them based on the confidant level of that same what's the word? I want to get the word right. It's the tarot term. I don't know what the term is. So, for example, Makoto is the priestess, Haru is the empress, Yusuke is the emperor, Sojiro is the hierophant, An is the lovers. Those tarot things, when you summon a persona, they all belong to one of those tarot things. And so you will get a boost if that level with that confidant is higher in experience. When the persona levels up, your stats in combat level up, and they learn moves. And there are other activities in the game too, and they all benefit combat, and so that's excellent. So what I've been doing in this one is I've been trying to get to that point that I was at before. I've been trying to get through all of the palaces quickly. I've been trying to get to the same in-game date that I did before. I think I left when I streamed. I think I got into November, or at least the end of October. And then when I played again on my own sometime last year, I got into December, I believe. And that was after doing experience farming using the trick with the Reaper. But that was it. I did not get out of December. There was some big stuff coming up. And the first game, I know that it went past Valentine's Day because I remember being warned that if you are in a romance with multiple characters, once Valentine's Day hits, there are consequences. And they haven't been spoiled for me, and that's great. And you know what? I'm going to leave it that way. This time, in this playthrough, I'm not going to bone or get into a relationship with all of them. Not this time. I'm going to be a good boy and pick one. And of course it's going to be An. Of course. And then in New Game Plus, I'll have the tough decision of Makoto or this new girl, Kasumi. So I'm going to go over, so I've got two more things to talk about. I'm going to go over all the differences and explain what that means. Some of them I did not understand until I started to play into the game, or at least I didn't know to what extent until I got into the game. I'm currently, the game starts early April. I think April 2nd, April 5th, something like that. I'm currently in May 24th in the game. I've got that far so far. So the second thing we'll talk about is I'm actually thinking about restarting, but I wanted to share with you guys why and discuss that a little bit with you and kind of get your guys' opinion on the comments, because I'm not playing it again tonight, and hopefully I can wake up tomorrow and when I get home from work, see some comments with thoughts, because I'm interested. I mean, the kind of people that I have got to stick around on the channel, you guys have minds. You guys have thorough thoughts on these sorts of things. It seems to be like that's the kind of people that I attracted, and that's great. And I want to hear what you guys have to say. So, what's new in Persona 5 Royal? New character and party member named Kasumi. Haven't got to the point where she's going to be a part of the story, but if you guys remember at the very beginning of the game, you start in a palace, and it's in the future, and then things restart. And they did the thing where they put her in, so now you are aware of the difference really early. And I both like that and I don't. I like it in that it shows that they were changing things all the way back to the beginning instead of just tacking stuff onto the end. And so that's good. And that'll come into play with there are so many new cutscenes, and all of the palaces have changed and so on. So they did a very, very deep dive. It's like they took the wish list of things that they couldn't fit in when they had that ship date, and they decided to go back and do it, and it affects every system and every palace and every location in the game. So that's great. We'll get to that. But that includes her. You are now aware of her at the beginning. Unfortunately, the way I don't like it is I don't like the things where they start at the end or halfway point or something at the very beginning anyway. I've never liked it. I've never liked it in movies. I don't care how well it's done. I think it's better to not do that. With a notable exception of a movie that did not do it, but absolutely could have benefited, where I feel like it could have started halfway through and stayed that way until probably the beginning or middle of the second act, and then done what was the original first act of the movie, done that in sort of flashbacks. I feel like the movie could have been tons better. That's the one exception. That's the one case. But anyway, she says some things that kind of give away the relationship at that point, and that kind of spoils your relationship that you're going to have with this character. Because the thing is, the way that they were showing it to begin with is she was supposed to be someone that was going to be not necessarily giving you guys trouble as an antagonist, but being someone that was set against you guys. And that was interesting. But when you start the game of Royal, it's more of a, okay, I'm not going to stop you guys. You guys do your thing. I didn't like that. But anyway, she's in the game, but I haven't encountered her in the normal timeline yet, so I don't have much to say on that. An entirely new school semester has been added, expanding the story alongside a new palace. So I never made it to the end of the game in the first place. So the 2 semesters, I never made it to the end of the second one. So I don't know how the third one is even going to play out. But only 1 new palace. I think in the original game there were 8 palaces in 2 semesters. Now we're going to have 1 for the last semester. And that makes me wonder, okay, is this last semester going to be not really as fully featured? Because by that point, you could have been pretty far along with your confidants in a single playthrough. You can't max out everything. At least in the original, you couldn't max out everything on a single playthrough. You needed a New Game Plus to do it because you have to spend a lot of time not with your confidants at the beginning. You need to build up your skills first before certain confidants will even talk to you, or you'll be able to progress to certain levels with them, or even meet them in the first place. Because there's a confidant you don't even meet until October. But the thing is, in October, you're probably still working on those previous ones. So New Game Plus was required in the first place. Adding an entire new semester of days for you to do things is probably enough to max out everyone in a playthrough. But if there's only one new palace, then you're not really going to reap those rewards. And so it's making me wonder, is that semester going to be one of those things where, okay, this is your college preparatory one, and you've got so many weeks that are exam weeks, and those you have very little time on. Sometimes you just go from day to day, not being able to choose what to do at night. And so you don't really get to play another semester's worth of games, another entire half a game's worth of days. Or do they speed it up for some other reason, where you have story reasons that are going to keep you busy for long periods of time? So remains to be seen. The new Thieves' Den feature lets you visit a huge room full of unlockable bonus content at any time through the pause menu. You can use in-game currency to unlock things like artwork, character models, cutscenes, and music. So that is available to you very early in the playthrough. Very, very early. I think within the first week. But I haven't went in there because, again, it's just, I can do that at the end of the game and have a lot more of that currency and unlock everything at once and go through it and still enjoy it. I don't need the break right now from the main game, pace-wise or anything. So I haven't been in there. Don't feel I need to. A number of brand new animated story cutscenes. I don't know if I've experienced any of those yet. There's only one that I think is new that I don't remember from the first one, that isn't tied to one of the new mechanics in the game. And I'm also wondering what they even mean by new animated story cutscenes, because there's the full anime, then there's the one where it's in the engine, but it looks better than just the game render. And then there's ones where it's just the game render. So there was a game render cutscene that explained using the grappling hook to you. That wasn't in the first game. So are they counting that? I don't know. Are they counting the encounter with Kasumi because she wasn't in the first game? Are they counting that as an animated cutscene? Even though, to me, I'm hoping that this means more anime, actually drawn anime level cutscenes. I would say that that's likely, being that Persona 5 animated was a thing. So they've obviously thought, they probably have a lot of animation. Hell, they're probably just going to steal shit from that and put it in the game, and I'm okay with that. A whole new location called Kochijoji is yours to explore, and it's bigger than any other real-world location in the game. If it is a location that the game is going to put you into as part of the story, I haven't unlocked that yet. It's got a club that you can visit with party members, opening up new social and bonding events. Neat. Not there yet. The club features a darts minigame that enhances the effects of Baton Pass for each character. That's useful. In fact, Baton Pass already is unlocked earlier with all the characters. It's just unlocked by default, and that wasn't the case before. You used to have to reach, I think, level 2 Persona level with them, or Confidant level. And in addition, it has already, from the beginning, when you Baton Pass, their attack goes up. And then if you Baton Pass again to another person, theirs goes up even more. That's just default. So the fact that you can also increase these bonuses again is nice. I will say that without going to Kochijoji, darts is actually available. I've seen it on the mini map at one of the stations up at the street level. Oh, scusi. Kochi Joji's club also has billiards. There's no actual minigame, but choosing to play billiards strengthens your relationship with every available party member by a small amount. So that's kind of nice if you're wanting to work on multiples at the same time. That said, you're probably choosing to do that instead of working on one of your social skills or going on a date or a bonding thing with one of the confidants directly, which is how you level up your confidant levels. So remains to be seen if that will be actually useful. Kichijoji, not Kochijoji. Kichijoji has a jazz bar that can grant party members level ups and stat boosts. Okay, don't know what that means exactly just yet. Kichijoji has a temple where you can permanently increase Joker's SP through meditation. That's really neat. There's a new confidant that comes into play here. We'll get back to that. But there's also something that was in the original game and something that I've actually done in this playthrough is you were already able to increase his HP by working out. I don't have the ability to use the gym yet for some reason, but you can work out in your room, which is just him doing pull-ups. That little scrawny guy doing pull-ups somehow increases your HP a lot. So the fact that being able to increase your SP is great because SP levels was usually what kept you from farming endlessly in mementos, because you would be spending your SP and there weren't really cost-efficient ways of getting it back, because you couldn't just go and buy endless SP items. You had to spend time making them or buying them once a week from vending machines. So having a higher SP level in the first place, that's nice. That's good. Kichijoji has a number of shops that offer new services and items. Cool. I will see that when I get there. 2 brand new confidants with their own perks. So I have met I know I've met one of them, and he's worthwhile because the first time I talked to him, actually spent time with him, he's a counselor at the school. So if you remember, very, very, very early in the game, a classmate she jumps off of the second story of the school and hurts herself. And they have introduced, and this just seems very natural, if you want to think of it that way, they've introduced a counselor character that comes and talks to the people, to any of the students that want to, especially ones that were close to said character. Now, you spend time with Shiho before that happens, so you and the other main characters are part of that. I do not want to be on this confidants page. I want the Royal Confidant Guide. So what's weird is that I never knew tarot shit. I was never into it, but he's the counselor confidant. Was that a tarot card? I don't know. And then the other one is Kasumi, the new character that you're going to get, the new party member you're going to get later on. She is the Faith. I guess that was one too. I don't know. Is this who I think it is? It is. Okay. So those are the 2 new ones. Are they going to say it here? Okay. Akechi, so Goro Akechi, if you remember, he was the temporary party member, and he ends up kind of turning against the party. Maybe that'll help. his social link route has been completely overhauled, whatever they mean by that, and slots differently into the story. I'm interested. I'm interested in how that works out, because you were able to increase your confidant guide or levels with him, but then you lose him, and so I wonder if this might have been. I wonder if you were unable to max him out at all, or maybe you were, but there was a possibility that you didn't before you no longer had access to him, and therefore you couldn't max out later on when you were trying to do persona farming, crafting, whatever, and that hurt you. So I wonder if that was the case and if this responds to that. But I don't know. I haven't got to the point in the story where you even see him yet. He's referenced already. If you go around and you listen to people, he's talked about as, that young sleuth on TV, but that's it. Some confidants, particularly party members, have additional social scenes. That's neat. I might have experienced one with Anne already, but I don't remember. And I'm already rank 6 with the doctor. I know that in a couple levels I'm going to need to have charm 4. I'm only at 2, so that's going to hit a wall kind of soon. But I didn't notice anything new with her. But again, it might just be me not noticing things. New events such as holidays and additional character scenes have been added to the calendar. Okay, I haven't really looked. I will say one of the things it's going to talk about later is new weather type stuff. True, because there are a lot more early on. I've experienced a number of pollen days. So those are absolutely in play. So the pollen days make the enemies, any sort of weather affects mementos, so that the enemies in there are affected. New personas, okay. I do think I've seen at least one new persona already, and so that's neat. And I'm wondering if those personas are in the game to either shore up some of the weaker persona categories, like some of the confidants you might not have bothered with because they were certain, the personas weren't good, or the other way around, you didn't bother with the personas because you didn't want to do the confidants. For example, I didn't do anything with the gun shop guy because guns didn't really, there was no reason to really spend any time making them better. There is this time, but so I didn't bother. I wasn't really looking for those confidants to use. So I would capture new ones, but I wouldn't use them. So I wonder if this kind of addresses that, or if it's also, or there are 2 more new confidants that have their own categories, and so they need counselor persona and faith persona in the game. New 3rd form for each party member's persona, so that's kind of neat. We saw those before during the playthrough. So we saw not Arsene, because you actually get rid of Arsene pretty quickly for Joker, but all of the other characters, they only have one persona associated with them, and we saw all their second forms. Except Goro, who's not with you long enough to have a second form. Or maybe he's already in second form and you don't know because he's been around that world already. So I'm interested in what the 3rd forms are. I wasn't as I didn't want to lose Makoto's. I didn't want it to turn into a bike permanently. I liked it having that kind of transformer form behind her, but then it turned into the bike. I didn't like On's second form one. I don't remember Skull's, but I also didn't really use them. I don't think I liked Haru's second one as much either, but we'll see. It probably is going to tie into the story type stuff, and it'll probably kick in when that new 3rd semester comes in. New enemies. Okay. I don't know what they mean by that. That could be as simple as the new persona that you are going to find. It could be as simple as the shadows that were going around that you would ambush. It might just be new looks for those. I think I've already seen one of those. So that could be as simple as that, or it could be more. So I don't know. New weapons, new armor, new accessories, new items. I have seen, so all of that seems standard. That seems like stuff where they could have added things in for balancing reasons and for exploring new avenues of things that maybe, again, they couldn't have put in with the initial release. I have seen a ton of new items already. The game gives you a ton. And on top of that, I have an item that I just had for some reason, and I equipped it. There are accessories that you equip now that give you an additional skill. So your persona, when you go to that menu to cast a spell, there's a new one in there, just an additional one, and it stays. Like, for example, if it's on Joker and you're changing from persona to persona to persona, I just had the base level wind move or air move all the time, and that was great. So there are also new skills and stuff. I don't see it here. Oh no, there was an item that I gave to Ryuji that gave him an extra skill, and the skill was a two-parter. So they have these new two-part skills. So it healed a party member and also increased their attack for 3 turns. So the new items is definitely a thing. And then 2 new story endings. I didn't get to any of them in the first place, so we'll see what that means. I did look ahead a little bit for something I was going to talk about later. I might as well talk about it now in case I don't get to that point. But it had to do with balancing your time. And so I was going to say, maybe the 3rd semester is added, or no, maybe you get more time early in the game to spend on increasing your social points, because originally, and it's still the case, a lot of the confidants required you to have certain levels in certain social skills in order to progress further down their line in your relationship with them and unlock the higher confidant levels. I was going to say maybe you get more time to put into your skills because the 2 new confidants with the new persona. Again, I'm missing a word here, and I don't know why I can't think about it, but those persona types were going to tug you in even more directions, at least one of them, where you needed to have more skills available at an earlier time, or more skills at the same time, or the same number but available at an earlier time. That's actually not the case. Neither of the new confidants have any of their later relationship levels or confidant levels gated by a social skill. However, Kasumi, going further with her past a certain point, and I didn't look into why or what this means, but it said that you have to be on the path for the true ending. Neat. I'm not going to look that shit up. I'm going to have guides to make sure that I answer confidant questions correctly, to make sure I answer the classroom questions correctly, to make sure that I answer the crosswords correctly. But I'm not going to make my decisions in the game based on a guide. The ones that, where I'm choosing how to do things, the big story ones, including things like who I romance. So that's interesting. I wonder if I'm going to be able to find my way to the true ending without knowing what you are supposed to do. I want to do that. I want to give it a shot. And you know what? If I fail, I already want a new game plus this anyway. So we can, I could figure out what I did wrong and then go at it next time. So, gameplay additions. By the way, that was the list of new content. This is the list of gameplay additions. Gameplay adjustments. Again, dungeons and combat, and then everyday life, and then other additions. So we've still got a ways. Gameplay additions. The Phantom Thieves now have powerful Showtime attacks, basically tag team super moves. They're unlocked one by one as the story progresses. Okay, haven't got there. All palaces have been reworked to some degree, although largely they remain the same in terms of layout. I wonder if this is something that's going to. Even the first palace changed because of the grappling hook. You just have the grappling hook from the beginning. So. There are probably that was the only thing that I could notice that was different about the first palace when it came to the layout, because it is sort of a tutorial dungeon in a way. So it's the palace where you first awaken both Joker and Ryuji. Well, Joker and Skull, I guess I should say. So that was the only difference that I noticed. There were parts you had to use the grappling hook to continue. So hopefully only just the first one or maybe the first two. I'm in the second one now. Hopefully all the rest of them are different in other ways. So far, that's the only thing that I've noticed. That's the only thing that I can think of for the first one. And that's the only thing that I have noticed so far about the second one, though there could have been a little, some subtle difference that I don't remember. But that's fine. If I don't remember it enough to remember if there was something like that, then that's great. That just makes it a new game to me, and I am not at all opposed to that. Some palaces have completely new areas. Don't know if I've found one of those yet. I'm thinking I did, but I don't remember why I think I did, and therefore I don't remember. Joker now has a grappling hook that lets you access new areas and dungeons. Again, so far, I think there were one or two places where the grappling hook just simply got me to a ledge where I had a chest or something, but other than that, it seems like the grappling hook has been sort of changed into, okay, this is the way that you get up here now. Now, they could have been doing it kind of cheaply where, well, normally you got up there by climbing up onto a box and then climbing up on top of a machine and then climbing up on top of the ledge. And now it's just a grappling hook. So they were able to take out a couple assets and make it look neater. That could have been one of the ways that they went around it. So we'll see. So I don't know about new areas. I don't know about things that you weren't accessing already, because why would those areas have been in the original game design or level design of those palaces in the first place? So that's why I'm saying that. The grappling hook often leads to secret locations that house will seeds. There are 3 will seeds to find in each palace. That I remember. Those exist from the first palace on. Okay, so that I remember. But again, that's a small change to the palace layout to put these locations in that have these will seeds. That's not huge. I will say, though, one of them was hidden very well. It required the grappling hook trigger for L1. You can't just run around pressing L1. You actually need to be looking at where the hook location is before you can hit L1 to grapple to it. And it was actually really neat. The second will seed in the first palace, you needed to look in a direction that you didn't really have a reason to look. The path was kind of already easily laid out in front of you, but if you looked up in a direction you had no reason to look, that one was neat. So hopefully they continue to do that sort of clever stuff going on. Each time you find all 3 will seeds in a palace, you'll be rewarded with a unique accessory. So that happened right when I got the 3rd one in the first palace. So that was good. Additionally, the palaces disappear after you take the heart, so you got to make sure to get them while you have access to them. All palace bosses have been reworked in some way, either with additional mechanics or phases. I don't remember the difference on the first boss. Honestly, everything he did, I thought, oh, that makes sense, or I kind of remembered, so I don't remember, but that's fine. Some palaces now have additional boss-like enemies and encounters. So it says all palaces. Oh, it says some. Okay. There was kind of a mini in the first one, but he was there in the first, in the original. I remember that. Additionally, one of the will seeds was blocked by a sort of mini boss. So I guess that kind of counts. Also, there it says boss-like enemies and encounters. So there's a new kind of thing that they've done to some of the enemies, where now sometimes in an encounter, one enemy is going to be, they're going to be visually different. They're going to have this kind of purple-black haze thing kind of covering them. Kind of, it looks like oil on water, rainbow effect type thing going around their figure. They do not attack you. They will counterattack every attack that you do onto them. They're a lot stronger when it comes, well, by stronger I mean, well, their counterattacks are going to hit you harder, but also their HP pools are bigger. But when you kill them, with whatever blow you did the killing blow with whatever amount of damage you were able to do, they explode and hurt all other enemies for about that much damage. So they definitely introduce a new element to combat where you think, well, do I just go after the other enemies quickly and take them out because I know that this other guy is not going to attack me, but they will, and then deal with his counterattacks one by one, because I'm not going to be able to drop his HP down in one hit and destroy everything. So I like that. It's very neat. So I wonder if that's the encounters in that little bullet point. I wonder if that's what that means. Mementos, the randomized dungeon that you can visit when you have free time, has been expanded quite significantly. Floors can be bigger, and there's more room for exploration in general. I can't say that I've really seen a dramatic increase at all in size. It's possible that there's an increase in the number of floors per individual area, but the first one is still pretty small. The second one, I think, has 7 floors. It might not have in the first place. I would still rather each floor itself be larger instead of just there being more floors, because that puts, there being more floors means there is yet more floors to go through to get to the next checkpoint or save point or warp point. So I'm not sure. Mementos now has a shop that sells exclusive goods in exchange for flowers, collectibles that you find while exploring. So if you remember in Mementos, there were these little caged white balls, and those were items, usually junk that you just sell for gold. There are now 2 such floating item things. The other ones are flowers. The flowers you give to a character that introduces himself in Mementos. He's kind of keeps poking his nose in, which is a little annoying. He's not adding to your ability to explore. He's just there to be a vendor, and you can find him on most floors. He's also way back at the beginning, so you can warp back there and then warp back down to where you were. I do wish he would stop poking his nose in unless he actually had something to give you or add gameplay. Otherwise, he should just shut up and be a vendor. That's what they're talking about. When you collect these flowers, they will disappear when you leave Mementos. So you need to collect them, buy the items from him, some of which have a limited quantity, and just use them if you want, or get out. So that's what that's talking about. It is nice to have something more to do in there. So I am welcoming his presence. A new stamp system has been added to Mementos. Stamps can be found on each floor, and you can spend them on 3 different bonuses: more experience, more money, and more items. Once activated, these bonuses are permanent unless you decide to reset them. I got all 8 of the stamps in the first area, or the second area, whichever one had them first. I think it might have been the second one. But I haven't spent them yet. I might not know how. Oh, that's also at that vendor. So I just haven't done them yet. I probably should. I want that experience bonus. They are just these kiosk-like things to find. Sometimes it's right there at the end of the map in the room where you go down to the next floor, so it's not really hidden. Some of them are nice. The Mementos didn't have this before, but now there are just walls that you might think are a dead end, but no, it's actually a breakable wall. You need to go up and hit it with the car, and that opens up a new area. So the entire map isn't populated right away automatically, and I thought that was nice. There are new side quests to complete in Mementos. I don't think I've come across... Oh, so they're talking about the ones where you hear about things and then you can go into Mementos and solve those problems. So that must be what they're talking about there. Rare, unstable shadows can now appear both in palaces and Mementos. These are what I was talking about earlier. On death, they explode, dealing big damage to all other enemies. The Velvet Room now offers special optional battles that you can take part in for various rewards. This also is where DLC battles take place. So I've been introduced to those, or at least they've been mentioned, but I don't know that they're available to me yet. The Velvet Room can now go into a random alarm mode, which powers up Persona Fusion and other services, but may also result in unexpected fusion results. That sounds neat. It hasn't done that yet for me. So, gameplay adjustments in Persona 5 Royal dungeons and combat. Ammo now restocks after battle, making guns way more valuable across dungeon runs. I agree. Guns were a why bother item before, because since your ammo was limited during that run, it made it to where you wouldn't bother upgrading your gun because the amount of damage that you would be getting out of them would be very, very small over the entire run. So don't worry about upgrading them, because if an enemy was weak to gunfire and would be knocked down because of it, they would get knocked down if they were hit with a 3 damage bullet. So you didn't need to upgrade. You didn't need to waste any money at all upgrading your guns. This changes that. So I like that. I might actually spend more time with that confidant now to try to get bigger discounts and stuff. Some personas have been rebalanced both in terms of stats and available skills. I don't know if I would notice those changes anyway, but it's nice to know that they went through that. Some enemies have been blah, blah, blah. Good. Neat. Okay. The baton pass mechanic has been expanded and is available to all party members from the beginning. I have seen both aspects of that. It's really neat. Gameplay adjustments in Persona 5 Royal Everyday Life. The calendar has been reworked in places, allowing for more free time and additional opportunities to interact with your confidants. I doubt I would be able to recall every single instance where this is going to come into play and allow me more time. But yes, I know I can tell you it's a thing. Morgana doesn't tell you to go to bed quite so much. You generally get a lot more free time at night, even if you can't leave LeBlanc. That is true, but at the same time, there were still times like early on in the game, you have an exam week, and even in your own room, you can't work out, you can't watch DVDs, you can't make palace items. He just keeps telling you to go to bed. So he's still fucking annoying to a degree, just definitely not nearly as much as before. Now, it's not mentioned here. I'm skipping through to the rest. But no, that's very interesting. So in order to make use of that extra time that you have, at the beginning of the game, you are not allowed to leave the LeBlanc place at night, but they give you a lot more things to do around the cafe. So you can clean, which increases your kindness and gives you a little relationship tick with your guardian. You can study there, which increases your knowledge. You can read a book at the bar, which increases whatever the book was going to increase. If a customer left a crossword puzzle, you can do that, and that would actually take up no time at all. And if you got it right, it increases your knowledge. Up in your room, you can do the workout thing to increase your HP. You can do all the normal room stuff, but they gave you a lot more to do down in the cafe part of the bar, and so that's not mentioned here, but that is great. There was a lot more to do down there, and they gave you more time to do it, especially at the beginning of the game when you weren't allowed normally to leave and you didn't usually have anything else to do anyway. So that's why the cat was always telling you to go to bed, and that's why I always wanted to punt that cat out the window. Now they gave you so much more to do. So it's not just, okay, we're not going to tell you to go to bed, but we're not going to give you anything else to do anyway. No, they gave you stuff to do, and it works toward your social skills. That's great. That's a huge change in the game, and I'm very happy that they did that, and I'm very thankful that they did that. Assist mechanic gives you recommendations on which confidant to visit and which stat to improve. So that is awesome. Now you press that big center button on the controller, and it'll kind of act like a shortcut. What's weird, though, is that it's only ever telling me one. So even if multiple confidants are ready to talk to me, I've only ever seen it show one. Maybe it's trying to push you in a certain direction. I don't know. Same with your skill thing. There are tons of things you can do to increase your social skills, but it keeps trying to tell me to go and do pull-ups to increase my HP. So it's neat that it's there, because sometimes it'll alert you to a confidant that is ready to increase with you and is available that day, but who doesn't send a text message to you to alert you to that. So that's nice. But it's not not the be-all. And on that same menu, if you're connected to the net, you can hit the D-pad, and it'll tell you what everyone else did that day, which is kind of neat. I got used to that in Fire Emblem Three Houses, where it was telling you what people were doing that day with their day. This is kind of telling you the same thing. There are 3 different categories of things to do: skills, life, and confidence. And it tells you not only what percentage they were in those 3 things, but also what in those 3 things they were doing. Confidants now call you after you hang out with them, giving you an additional dialogue choice and therefore another opportunity to strengthen your bond with them. That's true. After every visit with every confidant, they call you. You do get another dialogue choice. It's possible before that dialogue choices during the encounter. Doesn't matter what you pick, you don't get anything from it, and therefore it was kind of meaningless. It just helped with role play if you felt like you wanted to experience what this reply would get out of them, even if it ultimately didn't affect anything. But all of the phone calls after, there's always been at least one choice that did have a thing to increase your relationship with them. So that's nice. Some confidants have reworked perks. So far, all of them, as far as I can tell, they're a lot better. They're a lot nicer. They're a lot more helpful earlier on in their levels. So that's good. And then other additions in Persona 5 Royal. Graphical enhancements on PS4 Pro. I would not know. New opening movie. Yes. I wouldn't say it's any better, really. I liked the previous opening menu better. This one, the character designs are really fucking weird. They're stylized, but in the wrong way. They're still red silhouettes of themselves, but for example, Makoto, her waist and hips, it's like a 1-to-4 ratio. I mean, they're not human anymore, whereas the previous ones they were just the silhouettes. A new main menu screen. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I don't like that. New dialogue text font in the localized release. Okay. Some dialogue windows have new visual effects. True, being that there are new menu windows all over the place anyway. Some dialogue windows have new visual effects. Yes. There are more faces on the screen when characters are talking. They have more angles, and so it's much less of them just having a different eye, different eyes on the same face type thing. So that's kind of neat. New and additional character portraits and conversations is what I was just talking about. So I don't know what they're talking about with dialogue windows have new visual effects. I mean, it had the same look to them to me. Maybe I just haven't come across them yet. Around 30 new music tracks. I've heard some. New weather effects have been added depending on the time of year in game. So again, so far I've only encountered a lot of pollen days, and I only remember one or two early on, and they were, if it was two, then they were together. But there have been a number so far. New Game Plus now carries over additional bonuses like HP and SP increases. So that's neat. Again, I didn't get that far in the first place, so good. I'll have more to bring over with me. A completely new trophy list. Don't care. So those are the changes, and those are my experiences and kind of opinions on those changes so far. The other thing I wanted to talk about, though, I'm gonna go get a drink. So, like I said before, I've been skimming past most everything in order to get to where I was before. But that kind of conflicts with a couple things. One of them is another thing I already talked about. Being in this world again is just fun. I love it. I love playing this game. I love being in that world. It's great. Even though I don't role play, I don't think that that's me in the game or anything like that. I love playing in that world. The other thing, though, is that whoever did the writing for the game, it must have been a team. The characters are all very, very unique. Not just the characters in your party, but many of the NPCs. And there is an insane amount of writing in this game. Just to remind you guys of what I'm talking about, if you remember, not only did the characters, when they did the party members, when you were having discussions, normally say a ton of stuff in the first place, but they also, there were a lot of people that the game encouraged you to walk around and just listen to people, because you could pick up on things. You could pick up, you even got some side quests that way, but you also just heard of other things to do. There were a ton of books that I never bothered reading. I never paid attention during the movie, because I only ever just went to a movie to get a skill increase in romance or charm or whatever the bonus was for that movie. Same with the DVDs that I watched. There were a lot of books that I never read that, because I only wanted the books that increased your skills. I didn't care about the books or pamphlets that opened up new locations for you to take confidants, because to me, if you followed a confidant guide, you were able to hit max level with whatever confidants you wanted with the certain number of required meetings. Now I don't want to do just that. Now I want to go to those other locations too, because there are more confidants, even if it's only 2, and even if the game is longer. I want those benefits sooner. So maybe going to those other places can somehow lessen the number of times that you need to spend with that confidant to max out the rank. Plus, going to these new places, I want to have more things on my map than I did before. There were places that I would have never found in the previous playthrough that I was doing on the stream because I didn't read the places needed to go there, or I wasn't spending time with those confidants anyway, where they would have invited me somewhere, or I didn't walk around and listen to people talk, and that's probably how you unlock 1 or 2 locations. But there's a lot of dialogue there. There are on many nights and some days, there is a little interim cutscene where it just shows dialogue. 5 bubbles pop up, and you can. And I always just skip them, but I don't want to. There is a lot of the times when you go to school in the morning, it shows Joker following a couple of friends, and they're talking out loud, and you can hear them. And I always just skip right by that because, again, I'm just trying to skip ahead to get to where I was at before. But I was also skipping them the first time I played in stream because you guys were watching, and I wanted to get to the action, to the stuff. There were so many times before, and I'm doing it every time now, where I just press start to do the auto on phone conversations because those fuckers can drag on forever, even if you already knew what the discussion was going to be about. And even when you knew that no matter your choice on those phone conversations and in most in-person conversations, the conversation is still going to carry out exactly the way it was going to before, and your decision doesn't matter. I want to let this world immerse me. And so I want to read everything. But I am 1 3/4 month into the game already. I don't want to wait to do it in the New Game Plus, because the thing about the New Game Plus is you get to keep, one of the things that I knew that you get to keep from the original New Game Plus was your social skills. So those are already going to be all maxed out. I had them maxed out in the first place on the previous game, even though it was only December. So I'm not going to have to spend any time at all doing those. And that's where a lot of the dialogue can come in as well, depending on what it is that you are doing, like working jobs. So I had the realization as I was playing today that what should probably be the best if I want to do those things is not to wait for a New Game Plus, but to just do it now. Just start over, throw the 20 whatever, 30 whatever hours I've already done out the window, probably not that many, and start over now. And that's what I want your guys' opinion on is, what do you think about that? So I feel like I'd be missing out if I tried to stop and continue to skip all of that extra stuff until the New Game Plus, because I feel like I would miss out on some of that stuff in the New Game Plus anyway. But additionally, at some point when I get to where I was in the story in my original playthrough, I'm going to slow down and start paying attention to that story stuff again anyway. So if I want to go through all of this stuff, it is an insane amount of reading, but I want to. So what to do? It's just kind of hard to throw all that gameplay out the window, but in a way I want to be immersed in that world in the first place. I'm not immersing myself in this world right now. So again, I'm not the role play type. I don't think I'm that character, but damn, I love the free time that I have with a controller in my hand playing that game. It is absolutely costing me, that in the streams is costing me Project Raider time, and I'll have to figure that out. But damn, I love playing Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal. So that's what I wanted to ask you guys in the comments. What do you think? So I'm going to upload this video and come back to the game tomorrow. But yeah, I'm interested. What do you guys think? So that's the update. Still gonna do Neo, sorry, and Doom Eternal streams. So those are still gonna come every week. Hopefully every week we can start picking up Sunday streams with some of you guys, just casual multiplayer stuff for an hour or two. And on the side, in the game journal, you're going to hear a lot about Persona and any other games and stuff that I pick up. So when I start picking up Dragon Quest again, I'll keep posting pictures of that as well. So that's my life in gaming so far. I've actually spent a decent amount on games lately, and there are a lot of games I want to play that just came out recently. No, I have zero, absolutely zero interest in Final Fantasy VII. So whatever. Good thing I'm not trying to stream right now and be relevant, because I would have to pick up that third of a game in order to for the full $60. Fuck Square, fuck their money hungriness, just fuck them. So anyway, good chat. See you guys next time.